What's up, my brothers? We got a requested topic from a guy today who says he has no purpose. How do I find it? Now, he's an older guy. When I say older, I mean a little bit younger than me, but a little more seasoned than the general audience that watches my stuff. So let's hop into it and see where he's at. He says, of the two things that were the focus of my life the last 10 years, my marriage is over and I'll be quitting my work next year. So again, topic is no purpose. How do I find it? Marriage blows up suddenly a few months ago like a lightning bolt out of the blue. Won't do an autopsy here because Rational Male has it sorted. It was a clinical divorce and I made out okay financially. The most shocking thing to me was how quickly I got over it, and I can honestly say I don't have an ounce of grief left. This was very unexpected. Sounds like you've already arrived at where you need to be there, so that's good. Financially, I'll be fine. Generally speaking, by the way, guys, financially, you're generally fine if there's no kids involved and if she makes close to the amount of money that you make. But he's got enough savings to live for several years without working. If I choose to do so, I won't, of course. I manage a European company with 140 staff, which I built up from just 8. Over the years, the better I do, the worse my boss treats me, and I'm at the point where no amount of money is worth working for a boomer sociopath. I'll be quitting the instant my annual bonus hits, which is next January. I have no interest in working in an industry anymore, or even management for that matter. In the last few years of my spare time, I opened 2 lounge bars, one of which was successful, the other a bust. I have a share in a small restaurant here, lost a small investment trying out a drink kiosk in Eastern Europe. I MC for large charity events, and I'm comfortable in front of crowds. I mention these things because when I look back over the last 10 years, I can't believe the crazy amount of spirit and entrepreneurialism I've had. I speak several languages, I read a lot of books, I've traveled, I always have an idea for the next thing. Today, I can't even figure out what to do with myself on the weekend, let alone my career business. It's not a question of fear. I don't even have a clear vision to fear. My mind is completely bereft of inspiration, and most importantly, purpose. So he's 39. I've been doing the work, down 10 kilos since March, building muscle with a personal trainer 3 times weekly, cracked the code on diet for the first time in my life, eating healthy, and feeling amazing. I've been spinning plates, and I'm not nervous about dating. I've discovered I still have game despite 10 years of marriage. To be honest, dating now really is the only thing I get any enjoyment from. It's not a good thing. I need to find purpose. Yeah, you don't want women to be the thing you get enjoyment from. They should be like the cream on the cake, you know, the cherry on the top sort of thing. The meat and potatoes should be your purpose. So what steps do I take to reveal or discover purpose? All right, this is a question that's come up a few times. I do every Monday I do private Q&As for my men's community. So I've done this more than once, let's just say. I would start asking questions like, so complete a sentence like, I lose track of time when. So what are you doing specifically when, you know, it might seem like 5 or 10 minutes goes by, but it's hours? That's a good indicator that, 1, it's something that you enjoy, but 2, is it something that you can kind of double down on and find a way to turn into a business? Now, when we talk about finding our purpose as men, we're really talking about putting our little dent in the universe. For some guys, it's a big dent. You know, for a guy like Steve Jobs, he put a big dent in the universe, or even a little, some people might say. For other people, you know, like me, I might put a tiny little dent in the universe, but I end up helping out guys understand things that they were previously unaware of and escaped their basic comprehension. So you just have to figure out what that looks like. I will say this, when you find out what it is that you should be doing, when you find out what little dent in the universe you should be working on, it will be obvious. It will be like taking a frying pan to the forehead. You'll just know that this is it. Okay. So I would first of all say you're going to have to start doing shit beyond what's in your comfort zone. For the better part of my 20s, I got involved in the credit and collection industry. For the better part of my 30s, I got involved in, you know, marriage and family law, of course. And I also built a business based on what I learned in my 20s in the credit and collection industry. And, you know, here I am in my 40s, 46, and I didn't really find a clear path, a clear purpose for me until I started doing other stuff. So how I arrived at this for me, I'll tell you the story once again, maybe with a little more clarity, but I was at my Entrepreneurs Org retreat with some other peers, and we decided to do some mountain biking up in Collingwood, which is Northern Ontario. There's a big escarpment there. It's called the Niagara Escarpment, and there's some wicked trails. So on the way back from the retreat, we stop. We got the bikes in the back of my buddy's pickup truck. In fact, if you go back to the channel and you sort my videos by oldest uploads, the very first upload was the day that I had recorded that. It's a terrible video. It's just awful from every angle. It's embarrassing to watch, but I'm leaving it up there for that very reason, just as a reminder. But we go and do our mountain biking, and my thought at the time was, I've always liked hanging out with entrepreneurs, and I like cars. I'm a car guy, so let's talk about how they achieve success and what obstacles they had to overcome. And I just recorded a video. I just stuck my GoPro on the windshield, and me and my buddy Brad, we just chopped it up on the drive. I must have recorded at least an hour worth of stuff, but I just distilled it down as short as I could. But that was not my purpose. That was just getting the ball rolling. So one thing led to another sort of thing. So the point of this is start doing shit. Because when I started uploading to YouTube, I started to get a little bit of attention, and people said, okay, that's interesting. I'd like to hear more about this. And I would do videos on topics like, well, interviewing my friends in their success rides were about, the first 4 or 5 main edits that I did. Very time consuming, wasn't what I really wanted to do. I discovered after doing it. So this is what you learn going on walkabout, doing things. And then one day somebody said to me, you should talk about the kind of women that you should avoid dating. So for some reason, they relied upon me at that point of somebody with a useful opinion, because I think the last video that I did prior to that was something around how to manage lawyers in your business, or maybe how I hire people with parties, because I was well known for office culture around that time. And somebody just said, yeah, you should do a video on the type of women to avoid dating. And then that just got picked up in the algorithms and blew up. And I'm like, okay, this obviously helps some people, and the feedback was good, and this seems to work, and I enjoy talking about this topic. So let's just keep sticking the GoPro on the windshield and telling stories as I'm going about my day. And I got really good at it. So I just realized at some point, it was probably not even until 6 to 12 months of doing it that way where I started to slightly pivot and talk about things, basically making my wounds work, and just hashing out the details of all those things on the channel as I would talk about it. But it wasn't until about 6 or 12 months later that I realized, and it was when I started to get messages from guys like, I had a noose around my neck, I had my 45 in my mouth the other day, and because of these videos, and then, long story short, I'm still here today, sort of thing. So it'll just become obvious to you. And for me, that was the obvious moment. It was an obvious moment when people would approach me in person and say, dude, like, you saved my life. And they reach out and sincerely shake, your hand, sort of thing. So you have to find out what that looks like for you. That's what it looked like for me. And I just found it by doing stuff, just getting out there, getting out of my comfort zone. I wasn't great on a mountain bike. I didn't have good cardio conditioning. My buddy Brad destroyed me on the trails. I just couldn't keep up. But I did it anyway. And the mountain biking led to something else. And it led to, joining other groups and other communities. And I got involved in the supercar clubs here in Toronto. And there's a mountain bike part of that as well. So there's all kinds of things that, you'll find yourself tripping across when you start getting out of your comfort zone. Now that you're divorced, you're no longer married. It doesn't sound like you have any kids. You didn't mention anything about that. The only thing that you're finding any happiness in is chasing tail, which is fine. That's what you're doing right now. But I would make that a lot less of a priority and start exploring other avenues of your life that you've missed out on, that would offer you levels of fulfillment that you haven't otherwise been able to feel, if you will. There's a lot of things that we put on the back burner as men to supplicate women, especially in a marriage, to bend the knee and do more so that we end up becoming less. I would start to look back at those old hobbies, whatever they might be. There's something beyond what you're doing right now. You might be good at it, and you make a great bonus at it, but at the end of the day, if it's not something that lights you up, blows your hair back, knocks your socks off, all that sort of stuff, just start looking around and doing other stuff, and it will become obvious to you. The key is once you found out what it is that you really like, how do you monetize it? How do you turn that into money? And that's a conversation that we can have another time. I noticed that you also joined the community, brother. So thank you for your support for the video, but also joining the community. hop on one of the Monday calls, and there's lots of Q&A opportunities there to talk about that once you figured out what it is that lights you up. So I'll leave it at that. Leave a comment below, guys. Was there a time in your life where you were lost, maybe post-divorce, got tired of working for somebody else and lining their pocket with gold, and you found a purpose in life that you hadn't otherwise seen or may have previously escaped you? Do leave a comment below and let this guy know what your experience is and what you learned from that. Also, I'll put a card up on the top right of the screen if you're interested in joining my men's community and leveling up in life and joining a bunch of other top shelf men from around the world. That's a place to check out. So we'll see you guys hopefully on the inside. Peace.